My next guest is maybe one of the, I don't want to say most, maybe it is one of the most recognizable players in all of Maplestory Reboot. We're going to keep this introduction real short and sweet. We're getting down to like the last few classes, and like really there's only so many people that it could possibly be, and there's only so many classes that it could possibly be. So we're going to keep this one nice and tight. I'm going to give you guys 3 words, and with those 3 words, you're going to say the first name that comes to mind, okay? Here are your 3 words. Reboot, Demon, Slayer. I actually can't believe he agreed to it. And I'm really happy he did. Yep, we got MAFHWHALE. Oh my god. His Discord name is MAFHWHALE. How many animals do you think his characters are named after? I'm gonna ask him. Yo.
Hello.
What's up, bro?
It's going good. How are things going for you?
Dude, can I ask, how many different characters do you have that are named after animals?
That's a good question. I have this thing where like half my Legion meals they have like buffalo in their name. So I guess if you count that, it's probably like fucking 30 or something.
Why buffalo?
It's like this there's just like this one time where like this was actually like several years back where like one time I was like playing League with my friends, and like some guy who was like queued with us, like it's some random that we didn't know. They were like flaming us because it's League, you know how it is.
Yeah.
And like for some reason they like pulled this insult where like it's like they called us an autistic water buffalo. And, like, this is like, what is this insult? And then so I just like time to name all my characters Buffalo.
It's got to be some like weird translation from like a different language, right? And they just like use Google Translate, and then that's what came out.
Maybe I have no idea where
like,
autistic water buffalo came
who's calling
from.
people buffalo like as an insult? That doesn't even make sense. All your characters are built around the insult. Dude, when I started playing this game, this was literally the class that came up, I swear, every single day. Everyone was like, oh yeah, you should check out Demon Slayer.
Yeah, I think the popularity for the class probably peaked maybe like a year or 2 ago. Then like a lot of other classes started becoming a lot more popular, but Demon Slayer is still extremely popular.
You're 295 with 500. Wait, was that 570 mil without FAMs?
Oh, you're talking about this? Yeah, yeah. So if I put my FAMs on, I also think I'm wearing a CD hat right now. So if I put my stat hat on, it goes to 679.
What? Dude, are you the strong, like, do you have the highest CP on all of Reboot?
Maybe. I'm actually not sure. Basically, Demon Slayer's, the Ruin Force Shield gives a 1.1 times multiplier to your CP. So it's actually pretty inflated. Like, I think there's like a couple people who have better gear than me, but just because of the Ruin Force Shield inflation, I guess I'm probably the highest CP, but like, it's kind of inflated. You know? That's
still crazy though. That's way higher than I haven't seen anyone break 600.
Didn't Chapaz come up on here? I swear he's over 600.
Did he break 6? I thought he was like, I don't. Maybe I didn't ask, but
maybe it's recent. Maybe it's only recently, because I think he hit some Limbo Eternals recently.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm pretty sure he was like 575. Like it was getting close.
Oh, yeah. It's probably just because he hit the Limbo Eternals recently.
Yeah. Dude, that is crazy. That is the highest number that I've seen. Oh my god. Okay. Sorry, I'm stun locked by that. Okay. I'm gonna stop freaking out over how much you farmed and how strong your character is already. Let's talk about the class. So before we get into it, usually what I like to do is I like to get whoever's on to just show off something that they think is like a cool selling point of Demon Slayer.
Well, so I think the obvious answer would be should it show TP farming, which is what you're talking about.
Yeah, that would be the obvious thing for anyone who's never seen it before.
But I think maybe something that would be a little more amusing to see that not everyone knows about. So basically, so Demon Slayer, for context, is like, I think it might be the oldest class in the game that has never been reworked. Like I think every class that was released before Demon Slayer has already been reworked. So as a result of that, like, you know how when they rework classes, they usually get rid of a lot of skills that are like fucking useless. Like, so Demon Slayer still has like a lot of like absolutely terrible, completely useless skills. Mm-hmm. But then there's one skill that really shows the age of the class, where if you look at Carry on Breath and you read the description of the skill, It's you can tell they wrote this shit when they were like fucking around.
Okay. Yeah. Poison damage,
Yeah.
like.
And then somehow the target is unable to eat lunch for a week afterwards.
Oh, that.
They just,
Oh, okay, bro.
they just
What?
fucking
Okay.
yeah. So the class has some very dated parts of it. Like carry on, bro. This is like, dude, this description is a fucking complete meme that they probably wrote when like the game was played by like 10 people or some shit, and then they just never changed it.
That's so weird. Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, maybe it's not so nice to know that your class is super dated, but that is the result where some of the skill descriptions are a little whack. I think that was the most severe though. The rest are
Yeah.
like kind of minor.
Yeah. Okay. Damn.
But yeah, I can show TP farming anyways.
Sure. Yeah.
since
Let's.
I think people
For
would wanna
anyone
see
who's
that.
who's never seen TP farming, I think it's like always amusing to. I think I've only ever seen it like once, so I'm still. It's still cool for me.
So the idea is that you mainly utilize two skills, so Chaos Lock and Infernal Concussion. So Infernal Concussion is not too interesting. This is just your like default mobbing skill. It just like kills mobs around you.
Mm-hmm.
And then the interesting thing is that we have this skill Chaos Lock, which basically the description on it is that it basically teleports you to like a mob. The description, oh, this is funny. The description says closest enemy to you, but this is like giga cap. It's fucking, it just TPs you to a random mob. This is like not true at all.
Okay.
And then, so then the idea is that you can, you can utilize by pushing the two skills together, that you can, so like, okay, like you can see, oh, hold on, I need to change my settings so that I don't lag so much when I press Alt G. So there is a, so like basically the idea is you put one of them on control and one of them on alt, and then you can press Alt GR to simultaneously press both keys at the same time. So now you can just like you keep TPing around, and the nice traits are this, so like it's like very lazy where you're just like killing all the mobs around you for free, doing like basically no work. And the nice thing is that you're also cycling the map so that you don't need to like go out of your way to move to loot and stuff.
Yeah.
I think someone has to turn on the effects.
Yeah. I was gonna say.
Yeah, let me. Okay. Yeah. So then beyond that, there's like two, I guess sort of two ways to TP farm. So one is that you use the 6th job version of Infernal Concussion that I'm using right now. So this actually maybe it's probably better if I explain the other one first. So I'm gonna take off a node to disable my Infernal Concussion boost node. Let's see. I think this one will turn it off, right? Okay, that turned it off. Okay, so the base Infernal Concussion. Oh, let me turn off my procs. I don't want to waste them. Let's see where the
Wasting procs on Rune Day.
Yeah, unfortunate. Okay. Okay, so the base Infernal Concussion is a 2-part attack where you can see it like, maybe it's better if I just do it without a TP. So you see that it like launches the foes and then it does an explosion.
Yeah.
So the nice, or one of the traits of Chaos Lock, actually I can just start here. So you see that it says after teleporting cannot absorb fury for 0.7 seconds. So there's like this issue where like if you kill the mobs too fast, you absorb the fury in that 0.7 second window, and then because of that you gradually lose demon fury over time.
Yeah.
So that's why the fact that Infernal Concussion is like a 2-part attack, that buys you enough time to wait that 0.7 second window, and so that way you can like sustain your demon fury infinitely.
Yeah, okay.
However, there's the cons that like the 4th job Infernal Concussion doesn't hit very hard, and also like it is like, because it's a 2-part attack, it is slow. So because of that, like you potentially don't get maximal rates using it. But if you use this 6th job Infernal Concussion, it's much faster, as you can see, and it also hits much harder. But then there's the issue where you constantly run out of demon fury. Like you see, let me just like hold this down for a while. Like you see that my demon fury is like slowly going down over time, and it's like not, well, actually ended up going up there. But yeah, generally speaking, it's like constantly going down.
Yeah.
So what you can do is there's a tech you can do where you can basically permanently, oh fuck, I have spot sequence, so you can actually see the tooltip. So we have this skill in Boundless Rage, where what it does is that it makes it that for a short period of time, you don't lose Demon Fury at all. So you see my Demon Fury is frozen at the maximum.
Yeah.
So if you use, so like basically using like using the Relentless special node, which it basically you can think of it just reduces the cooldown of the skill. It's like not super interesting. But Relentless makes it that you can get pretty close to 100% uptime on Boundless Rage, which allows you to infinitely sustain the 6 job in concussion, and you can get slightly higher rates this way.
Okay.
And then there is also the nodes where Soul Janus Dusk mode is extremely important for TP farming, because it actually ends up being, maybe I can open a BA and show. Okay, so actually I guess it doesn't show through. Well, actually this is funny. You can see that my Infernal Concussion actually like barely hits any mobs. The fucking Janus is killing them before I even get there. But yeah, the point is that the Janus is doing the heavy lifting on the actual killing of mobs.
Okay.
Your Infernal Concussion is not actually killing that many mobs. But yeah, the Janus is like TP farming didn't get that amazing rates until they released Soul Janus. But after they released Janus, the rates became really, really good with TP farming now. Like you can get like 18k mobs plus with TP farming, which is like basically full clear.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the sort of short intro to TP farming.
Yeah, and just holding a couple buttons. You have to put them on control and alt though.
Yeah, so I mean, it's like basically explaining the fact that like on keyboards, Alt GR presses your right alt and control at the same time. So you're utilizing that to TP farm.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you can only press it for 1 minute before you need to release and repress it.
Yep.
But that's not that big of a deal.
And that's like everything.
It's everything. You just lift your finger and put it back. It's really not that complicated.
Okay. Damn. It's just the best part about it is that it just loots as well. Because like the hardest part of farming lazy. When you're like doing lazy farming is like, all right, got to go loot every minute, 2 minutes, whatever it is.
Because like right now when you have like if you have like level 20 plus Janus and you have your 3 balls, you like don't have to do much, but you still have to loot. But as TP farming, you don't have to loot, so it does reduce that part of the complexity.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. So that's the thing that everyone talks about when they're talking about Demon Slayer. That's like the one thing that everyone knows is that you're TP farming.
Yeah, TP farming is a very hot topic around Demon Slayer.
Yeah. So you need like I mean we'll talk about it later. We'll talk about it in the farming section.
Sure.
Okay. So before we get started about like all the specifics, ins and outs of the class, let's get the introduction to you. So what got you started playing Maplestory? How long ago was that? Maybe you have any like bossing or just any like accomplishments, achievements in the game that you maybe want to highlight?
Sure. So I guess I first started playing Maplestory like it was like pretty close to when it launched. Like I distinctly remember that like when I started playing, it was like shortly afterwards they had the first anniversary event for GMS. Oh, so this was like long time ago.
Long time ago, yeah.
Yeah, and granted, I did not play that much, but like that's like when I first started playing. But like so I played things like on and off then, but I eventually over time I stopped. But then when Reboot came out, that was like very exciting for me. So I started playing Reboot a few months after it came out. And so yeah, I've been playing like reasonably actively ever since then. There's some breaks here and there as always, but like we've been pretty active since then. And yeah, so that's like how I got into Maple and everything. I don't know, in terms of achievements, like I currently clear like weekly I clear like Hard Limbo, X Kalos, Hard Calling, H Limbo. I sold C Kalos a few weeks ago.
Damn.
Maybe it was 1 week. I don't even remember when it was, but it was recently. And I've also been like in relatively early clears for most bosses, like second clear Hard Limbo, like first clear Extreme Black Mage. Some other. It's like I clear most content reasonably early.
Yeah, I mean with the power that we saw earlier.
Yeah, no, I mean this
it kind of makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I can farm a lot pretty easily because of TP farming, of course, and also the class. We'll talk about it more, but the class has also been historically extremely strong for a long time.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, yeah. Let's get into it then. So, first thing that I want to talk about is your damage profile. So, like, what? Again, I know very little about the class. So, if you could just talk me through like what your burst cooldowns are like, and then maybe what your burst damage is like comparatively to your DPM, and also if you could just like kind of talk me through what a normal burst rotation looks like.
Sure. So basically, actually, I guess it's probably better if I just go to the Mugong dojo while I talk over this. So basically, the class is it's a 2-minute burst class, and the sort of key to our burst is this one skill called Demon Awakening. Okay. So what Demon Awakening does is it enhances your lash for 65 seconds, and there's a 2-minute cooldown. So like normally Demon Lash is like this like kind of, it's a not that impressive a skill. Actually, let me summon a dummy so I can show the damage of it. Actually, I'm just gonna make it unlimited. Okay, so I guess like, well, let me change my Janus as well. So I guess like a cool comparison would be like the comparison between the damage of Lash and Awakening for like, let's say 10 seconds. So like, so if we look at like Lash specifically, it's oh, I should have applied a green pot. Whatever, I'll apply green pot after I do the Lash. Okay, so lashing for 10 seconds did a 2.3.
Okay.
Which is not that impressive. But then if I use Awakening for 10 seconds, so let me expand this. Yes, you can already see it as
yeah, it's already way more.
It's like 5 times higher. So like basically popping Awakening makes Lash like it goes from like literally basically useless skill to like skill that actually pumps pretty hard.
Yeah.
So this is the most important part of Demon Slayer's burst. The other V skills are so there's Orthrus. So this is another very long duration attack. It's just a summon that sort of procs every once in a while, doing various amounts of damage, as you can see from the tooltip. And like the 55 seconds is like the important part where it's like another long buff. We also, and then the other core parts of our burst. So we have Spirit of Rage. This shit just summons a fat ass snake that hits for 16 seconds. And then we also have Demon Bane. So Demon Bane is a key down, which has slightly more compressed damage. So actually, let me wait for the snake to go away before I use Bane, just so that there's more visual clarity. So Bane is a key down that it's 2 parts. So the first part, it's like charging up, it doesn't do that much damage. And then the second part, it unleashes and starts doing a lot of damage. And then importantly, you are iframed for the whole time. So it makes bursting very convenient because you're just iframed during the whole key down. So that's the kind of quick summary on how Demon Slayer's burst works. Unfortunately, I guess I need to wait for my shit to come back off CD before I show the full actual burst sequence. So I guess in the meanwhile, I can just turn on the practice mode buffs. If nothing else, I want green pot. I'll just turn on everything.
Can we see your buff sequence too? Like just how you have it set up before you send it?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so the way how my sequence is set up, so I have so the main 2 important sequences are these 2.
Okay.
So this is a sequence that it's just like to upkeep Weapon Aura. Because Weapon Aura is like because its cooldown isn't the same as your burst, you need to like pop it at separate times. So I have a sequence to make that fast. And then here is the main burst sequence where it's basically just popping all my 2-minute cooldown stuff and EB Link as well. Everything else is just like the standard 2-minute CDs.
Okay.
And so then like so that's you just slap everything except for Ozring. So actually maybe I can talk about that. So the reason why I don't have my Ozring in my sequence is because the way how the origin works. So the way how Demon Slayer's origin works is that it's not like an insta nuke type origin. It's actually a multiple part origin. So basically the first part is that it's like just the cutscene. It just binds the boss, and in Demon Slayer's case, it does like no fucking damage on the initial hit.
Okay.
Then what happens is then you acquire this buff, Demon's Territory, for 20 seconds. And what this buff does is it makes it that you constantly proc damage every it says cooldown 0.3 seconds, but in reality it's actually slower than that. But that is what the tooltip says. And then so this actually does quite a bit of damage. And then the final thing is you can end the origin to drop a hammer to do a shitload of damage. That's like the sort of iconic thing that most people know about. So then I can showcase the burst rotation. So then, so basically what you would do first is that you debuff the boss. So maybe I should have explained that one as well. So basically there's a passive skill that Demon Slayer has called Insult to Injury, where if the mob is strangely, for some reason, stunned, blinded, frozen, slowed, or incapacitated. I don't know why they picked these, but it's a 15 final damage buff on debuffed enemies. So because of that, it's very important that you debuff them first, so you can get that 15 final damage.
Okay.
So then what happens is then you basically you do your sequence, you origin, and then unfortunately it diverges a little bit what you're supposed to do based off of what level Ozring you have. But basically you use some combination of Snake, Ozring, and Bane. And then the idea is that so now we're watching this Demon Territory buff. So once it's almost done, that's when we want to drop the hammer. So for example here now it's almost done, and then I drop the hammer, and then I guess I should have B8 so I could show the damage progression, but dropping the hammer does an absolutely insane
Yeah,
amount of
I've seen it. It's crazy.
But yeah, it's like the idea is that because it's a backloaded origin, you want to sync your stuff so that your buffs will last until the end. So because I have a Roar 5, I can afford to pop it very early into the origin.
Yeah,
but
okay.
if you have a Roar 4, you need to wait a few seconds before you pop your ring.
Okay.
That's the sort of idea.
Makes sense. So you still either way, you still press your buff sequence immediately after origin?
No, you buff sequence first and then you origin.
Oh, okay.
It's actually, but you do bring up a good point. It actually is viable to do it the other way around. The sort of idea being that okay, so let's say I pop my sequence and then I pop my origin, but then half my shit is kind of wasted because for example, this Demon Awakening buff, it's what it does is that it enhances my lash, but obviously I'm not lashing throughout the cutscene.
Mm-hmm.
So it's actually viable to do it the other way around, where you origin first and then you sequence after. I think that it's there's some various trade-offs between the two, but the point is it is a viable alternative rotation that does perform well in certain scenarios.
Okay, it's pretty cool. And then your non-origin burst is basically the same thing, just without worrying about the origin.
Yeah, it's okay, so it's you would make sure the boss is debuffed, and then you would just press your sequence, Snake, Oz, and then Bane. That would be the idea.
Yeah. Okay.
And then you just keep lashing until Awakening is over.
Okay.
Yeah, so I guess one thing I should also mention though is that there is some flexibility on what rings to use for Demon Slayer.
Mm-hmm.
Where so the two options would be you swap between Roar and Weapon Jump, or you use Continuous Ring.
Mm-hmm.
So I think for right now it's kind of flexible. I think that in bosses with high uptime, say for example Limbo or Extreme Lotus, Kant performs pretty well, better than Ring Swap potentially. But in bosses that have poor uptime, let's say for example Kalos P2 or something like that, then Ring Swap would be preferential. So it kind of depends on the scenario. They're kind of close, but Kant can perform better if it's a high uptime scenario.
Okay, so how strong is your burst? Where would you rank it compared to other classes?
So I think so I guess there's a bit of a nuance where so Demon Slayer is a 2-minute class.
Yep.
And generally speaking, 2-minute classes burst not as hard as 3-minute classes.
Sure. Yeah.
But I think that if you're talking say relative to other 2-minute classes, I think Demon Slayer is really up there. Maybe it might even be the strongest 2-minute burst class in the game.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure if it's like the absolute strongest or not, but like it's like very competitive for strongest
Yeah.
burst class in the game.
What about your origin burst? Because of like,
The origin burst is like one of the strongest in the game as well. Like I think that
yeah,
there are some 2-minute classes like Arc that have obviously like extremely crazy origin bursts, but like the Demon Slayer one is no slouch. It's also very, very strong.
yeah. I've seen some crazy axe drops in like whatever bosses, but like you just
Yeah,
hear
no, there's
like someone's calling
yeah.
that they're about to drop the axe, and then you just watch the HP bar just actually just get deleted. Like,
Yeah, it's very satisfying that like for example, like let's say you take like Arc Origin, like I mentioned, like that shit takes like say like 7 seconds for the damage to go through.
yeah,
So like even though it's doing a lot, it doesn't chunk necessarily as hard as the Demon Slayer one, where like the drop at the end only takes 2 seconds to finish. So it just does an absolutely massive amount of damage in that 2 seconds.
yeah, yeah. It's kind of crazy. Okay, so overall, where would you rank the burst then? Like all these things in mind.
Definitely, like I think probably. So I think that the one thing that you might take away from the burst is that it's extremely long. Like I mentioned to you earlier, that like so Demon Awakening is 65 seconds, and Orthrus
Yeah.
is also 55 seconds. So like Demon Slayer's burst is like it's very strong, but barring the origin, it actually even technically speaking, the origin takes like say 25 seconds for all its damage to go through.
Yeah.
So like there is the one con where like Demon Slayer's burst is not actually that compressed. So like the total damage it does is insanely high. But if say for example you're like really looking at say like 15-second burst or something, then
Yeah.
Demon Slayer's burst is not that strong. So maybe like I would maybe say rate it at like be like A just for that,
Sure.
like the high A or whatever. Like I wouldn't necessarily put it in S tier just like purely because the burst is so long.
Yeah.
But the overall damage output is extremely high, even considering that.
Yeah. I think that's totally reasonable. I think that's fine. Okay, let's talk about your DPM then. So like
Yeah, so
what's going on while you're waiting for cooldowns?
Yeah, so DPM is a little funny where it's like it is a little confusing where like the thing is like if you think about it, like Demon Awakening is up for literally more than 50% of the time. Like it's 65-second duration, but the cooldown is 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So like the reality is that like a lot of what would normally be DPM time, you're actually lashing. But like let's say after Demon Awakening is over. So what's happening when Demon Awakening is over? Oh shit, I accidentally pressed that. So basically you're just like you're using Demon Impact. And then you also want to weave in Cerberus Chomp as well. So the idea is that it'd be nicer if I just have this B8 to display. So Demon Impact is the primary skill, but occasionally what happens, Demon Impact transforms into Demon Chain, which is a skill that happens, I think it was every 15 seconds. And it's like an empowered version that does more damage. I think this is pretty common. A lot of other classes have something like this, like True Spirit Claw and whatnot. So this is pretty common. It's like you just like pocket empowered one every once in a while. And then there's Cerberus Chomp, like I mentioned. So Cerberus Chomp is a 15-second. Well, actually, it's actually another funny thing where it's like there's two versions. So like there's like the base version that has like a 5-second cooldown, but it actually does not hit very hard. But then every 15 seconds, it has an empowered version that does significantly more damage. And I'll use it when it comes up in a second. So this is the empowered version. So the empowered version is you do not cast the unempowered version. You only cast the empowered one, which happens every 15 seconds. And then there's also this demonic plume, which is a let me pull it up. So this is a 20-second cooldown skill that it just procs when you attack, and it does a fairly large amount of damage. There is this catch where it actually, as you can see, when you use the origin, the cooldown of this skill decreases from 20 seconds to 5 seconds. So this skill actually goes kind of crazy during your origin.
Okay.
But that is basically this is what's going on during the DPM. So funny thing, half these skills didn't exist until Master 3.4 came out. It used to be so basically Demon Slayer's DPM got a very significant upgrade.
Okay.
After the Master 3.4 patch, where like Demonic Bloom, the enhanced Cerberus Chomp, Demon Chain was always there, but it actually got a major buff with Master 3.4, where you see here, this skill increased it by 550% damage. so it's pretty big.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what's going on for Demon Slayer's DPM. So I think that like, so yeah, there is that like distinction of nuance I mentioned where like do we consider DPM like, because Demon Awakening's uptime is so high in the first place
Yeah.
that like it's kind of like you feel like Demon Slayer's DPM is actually quite high because you're just you're using the Awakening for so long basically.
Yeah.
So, but I think maybe like a fair assessment would be like I guess if you want to group in like the additional like the very long lash time, you probably give it like A tier as well.
Okay.
Because like just like the pure demon impact time is still a little weak, but it's like not nearly as weak as it was before M3 and 4. It's still pretty decent, but it's just offset by the fact that like the reality is like during DPM time you're still lashing for so long.
Yeah.
So I would still rate it like A tier for the DPM as well. Just from those two combined.
I think that's fair. Like because of the way that you rated the burst, it's fair to like offset that in the like off burst rate ranking as well. So
yeah.
Okay. And for anyone who disagrees, they can just shove it. No, they can listen to your very reasonable explanation because it makes sense to me. All right, let's talk about your mobility then. So,
Sure.
Any buttons you have that are moving you? Like what do we got in the kit here?
So the most distinctive part is glide.
Yep.
So basically, glide is an ability that lets you float in the air, and then you can do some various mobility during it.
Yep.
So you can see here, like I can stall my fall and stay mostly still, but then I can like control the glide to like move horizontally in whichever direction I like.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's like also some like, I don't know, there's like this shit where you can like glide backwards, but it's like honestly it's literally completely useless in attack.
It's just aura farming.
Yeah, basically.
Style points.
So the glide is pretty nice in that like it is very useful for a lot of bosses. Like I think that sort of the most obvious example would be, say, for example, in Black Mage, where you can just like other classes they might need to like struggle a little bit to go over the rolling, or maybe or whatnot, but you can just like glide over it, and like that frequently gets you like back onto the boss faster than what other classes might need to do to dodge patterns. It's also very useful for Kalos, where like as an example, people like let's say for example when you go to shoot UFO, it's like kind of hard to get the positioning without blink, but like you can obviously use glide as a substitute. There's also the factor that like in the top section of the map of Kalos is actually in grand scheme of things extremely safe. Almost nothing hits you there. Mm-hmm. So like if your party's like very overspec, what you can do is you can just like hang out at the top of the map gliding for most of the time and just be like extremely safe. So glide by itself, because it like lets you like air stall in the air really high for so long, is like actually a very good survival tool.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and then glide is nice for that reason. We also have the standard flash jump that other classes have, so that's useful. And then the other mobility, so we have a dash skill as well. So this dash skill is extremely good.
Yeah, it's pretty fast.
Like it's very fast. It's like I think that it's on par with Hero. Maybe a little slower, but like I think except for Hero, I would say no other class has a faster dash. So it's pretty nice. And then there's also this nice thing you can do where you can see here like I'm traveling much less distance with a dash. So like the idea is you don't have to travel the full distance of the dash every time. What you can do is if you input a jump input in the middle of your dash, you can cut off the dash early to dash like a much shorter amount of distance. So that gives you control over like micro dodges potentially if you're good at timing it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty nice. And then finally, of course, there's Chaos Lock, the skill we're using for TP farming. So this skill acts as like a pseudo teleport where you can like teleport. Granted, it's not as flexible because like as we talked about earlier, Chaos Lock only TPs you to a boss. So you have very limited options on where you can teleport to.
Uh-huh.
But there is the catch where you can see here with the direction that you're facing when you press Chaos Lock influences which side of the mob that you land on. So because that you do have whenever you Chaos Lock to dodge something, you have two options where you want to land.
Okay, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, so I think all things considered, Demon Slayer's mobility is quite good.
Yeah,
there is
for sure.
I think that there is a trade-off where like I think that Demon Slayer's mobility is extremely good for surviving. Like I mentioned, where you can just like glide in the corner of the map and like nothing hits you. But obviously, of course, you're not hitting the boss while you're doing that.
Yeah.
So like it's nice for surviving, but not necessarily nice for uptime. And so I think that like I would classify most of Demon Slayer's utility as being along those lines, where it's very good for surviving. But
Yep.
in terms of uptime, I think the tools are maybe not. I mean, they're still good. Like for example, like the cancel dash to let you like do my micro positioning. That's quite good. But like glide, all things considered, glide is usually not that good for pushing uptime. It's mostly for survivability.
Bro, there's a bunch of Demon Slayers in chat right now that didn't know that you could cancel the dash. You've already taught them how to be better. That's crazy.
It's actually it's like I wouldn't say it's like I think the dash by itself, it's not so long that it's like that in most cases it's actually not that relevant to cancel it.
Sure,
I think
yeah.
That X-Lot, I think that X-Lot is like the one boss where it's kind of actually a big deal. But yeah, most bosses it doesn't really matter that much to cancel it or not.
Yeah. Can you use Chaos Lock from the air? Like if you're gliding, if you're doing that thing where you're like gliding.
Yes.
Oh, you can. Oh, damn. Okay. So if you're gliding into the wall and then you hit it, you'll teleport to the back of the boss.
Yes.
Okay.
But there is some catches where so something that is quite dangerous is that Chaos Lock actually has like absurdly far range. Like you can easily teleport to a boss that is literally not on your screen.
Sure.
So sometimes it's very dangerous where if you're like for example, let's say you're in Kalos and you're like far away and you want to Chaos Lock to the boss, but then like you might Chaos Lock straight into something that'll one shot you.
Yeah.
So you do want to be a bit careful because the range is kind of infinite. But there is some nice things where like as you mentioned, where you can like be gliding there and then Chaos Lock. So this is very useful for some patterns where you can like, for example, you can like glide over rolling and then Chaos Lock instantly back into the boss for Black Mage. And similarly for Limbo, what you can do is like you up jump to dodge the shark in Limbo White, and then you can just Chaos Lock back onto the boss.
Yeah.
So there is some nice scenarios where you can do that to like quickly exit a pattern to get back on the boss.
Damn, it's kind of sick. All right, give me a ranking for your mobility.
Let me think. I think that given how the game is moving, where like surviving is kind of less important and uptime is more important. Like you see, like for example, like Limbo is like very easy of a boss. It's more about getting out your damage rather than surviving. Baldrix is a little less so, but similar. And then like in the recent KMS boss they released Adversary, everyone gets this like low cooldown parry. So I think that like survivability mobility is like becoming less important over time, and it's more about uptime. So as I mentioned, like Demon Slayer's tools are like they're very good at surviving, but they're not actually that great for pushing uptime. So I'd probably give it like a B rating because like it's good for survival, which is like very good for some bosses. Like for example, for Kalos. In Kalos, like I think for most parties, surviving is the main struggle rather than damage. So like it would be very good there. But yeah, this like kind of like survivability utility is almost falling out of favor with the recent boss releases.
Okay. If you had to, I'm gonna give it a B right now. If you had to readjust your ranking, for like not the brand new bosses, like not the highest end game, like specifically for anyone who's maybe just starting off Maplestory or they're making a new mule or whatever, like someone like me, right? Where like the highest boss I've done is Saren. If I make a new character, like I'm not going anything above Saren probably for a while.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that in that case, like, so a lot of the low tier bosses, glide is very nice for. Like, for example, like I mentioned that like in Kalos, gliding is very convenient where you can like be near the top of the map and it's very safe.
Yeah.
Hard and Extreme Lotus are the exact same, where like the top of the map is if you're just like gliding around in the top of the map and like waiting for bursts, because like say for example you're struggling surviving or whatnot, it's actually very, very convenient for that.
Yeah.
So I think that that's pretty nice. And I also like the mobility is very simple, where like you only have like you have your glide, you have your dash, you have Chaos Lock. It's like it's not that complicated. Other classes like have like maybe like fancy like animation cancels and combos and whatnot for the ability. Like Demon Slayer's mobility is very simple.
Yeah.
So I would say that like for a new, it's extremely newbie friendly. Like I think in general this class as a whole is quite simple. So as a result of that, it's like very newbie friendly.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's like, I think you're right. I think for someone who's like trying to get out as much damage as possible to min clear, it might not be the best. But for people who are more so just trying to not die out, excuse me, and wait for whether it's burst cooldowns or just wait for an opportunity to actually go and start dealing damage to the boss again, it's like really straightforward and probably super handy.
Yeah, I think that in that case it's like really good. This and yeah, also like Sarah, actually that just reminded me because you mentioned Saren. Like Saren is another one of these bosses where like just killing in the air is really safe actually.
Yeah. Yeah, really helpful for a couple phases in Saren. All right, let's bump it up to an A overall then. Sure. And yeah, we'll just again like just very like reasonable explanation as to why you give it the ranking that you give it. But specifically for any like newer players, I think it's better than like the end game ranking. Yeah,
that's fair.
All right, dope. Let's move on. Let's talk about your survivability. So specifically anything that's going to allow you to tank hits you wouldn't otherwise want to tank, or just like stand in danger, right? So like iframes or healing or shielding or damage reduction or a door or anything like that.
Sure. So obviously we talked a bit about like the mobility for survivability, but then in terms of like the actual utility that the class provides, so we have a skill called Bichora, where every 5 seconds when you hit a boss, you can recover 25% of your HP.
Okay.
And funny thing is that it also heals your party members as well.
Oh,
so that's
shit.
kind of, it's like not that big of a deal, but you know, it's nice to have.
Yeah.
So then on top of this, we have 2 iframes. So we have Dark Metamorphosis, which is a approximately 3-second cooldown, or sorry, 3-second duration iframe, and it has a 92-second cooldown. And then we have Raven Storm, which is a 30-second cooldown skill, which gives you a maybe 1.5-second iframe.
Okay.
And it also heals 50% of your HP bar at the same time.
Okay.
So those are these 2 iframes are already extremely good. So then some extra utility you have for surviving is, so we have Mastema. So this is a part of your burst, 120-second cooldown. It lasts for 48 seconds. And you'll see here that it frequently casts this Mastema's Mark, where what it does is it gives you a 25% damage reduction. And I guess it lasts for 6 seconds and there's a 10-second cooldown. So that's the kind of uptime on it. And then we have another one, which is, this one's very unreliable though, where our Goddess Blessing, it sometimes gives you a 75% damage taken reduction, but this is like literally complete RNG if it procs. So this one's like not very consistent. But the Mastema one is like, because it's casted every 10 seconds for 6 seconds. This one is like pretty consistent to lean upon.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
So yeah, that is and I guess maybe another thing that's also worth calling out is, so as we mentioned in Bane, the key down also gives you an iframe. And then the origin is interesting because it's a 2-part origin. So the initial cutscene gives you an iframe, of course.
Yeah.
But then when you slam down the hammer at the end, that also gives you an iframe as well. So this class is like fucking unkillable during burst because you have the Bane iframe, you have the damage reduction from Mastema, your origin also gives 2 iframes. So the class is like, the burst is very safe.
Yeah.
And also like as we mentioned, there's like the 2 other iframes and the healing. So, but I do want to point out, so like in terms of like the raw things we listed, like this class's survivability is like off the charts. It's completely insane. But there is one thing that is a very big factor, which is Ruin Force Shield. So Ruin Force Shield is a shield that gives you 10 final damage, but then it increases your damage taken by 25%. So this is actually very interesting because it converts a lot of attacks that normally aren't one-shots into one-shots. So for example, the leg in Extreme Lotus normally does 80% damage. It all of a sudden now it one-shots you. The pillars in P1 Saren, normally they do 40% damage, so it's a 3-shot. Ruin Force Shield converts them to 50% damage, so it becomes a 2-shot. And then there's a lot of other attacks that are similar thresholds, where suddenly now it kills you 1 attack sooner.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's there is so basically the Ruin Force Shield, like, okay, so if you don't have Ruin Force Shield, this class is easily S tier survivability. Like, I don't think there's any doubt about that.
Yeah.
But the thing is that for most bosses, Ruin Force Shield is like not that big of a deal. Like, let's take Damien for example. Like, Damien, like, either you're dying because like something is like basically one-shotting you, or you're not dying at all.
Yeah.
Same with Hard Lucid. So like in bosses like that, Ruin Force Shield is like no diff. You like literally don't feel any difference, and the survivability is still like S tier. But the thing is that like a lot of the recent bosses, like say for example like Extreme Lotus or Kalos, they like gradually chip you down with like a lot of small sources of damage. So in those kinds of bosses, Ruin Force Shield actually hurts a lot. Like, it actually downgrades your survivability pretty significantly.
Sure.
But yeah, it's kind of like for the bosses where it's like you got to be scared of the one-shots. This class is easily S tier survivability.
Yeah.
But in classes like that, or in bosses like that, like Kalos and Extreme Lotus, like the survivability actually gets like significantly downgraded.
Yeah.
Like, the extra damage taken from Ruin Force Shield really makes a big difference.
Yeah. How rare of a drop is Ruin Force Shield?
I'd say it's like pitch tier rarity. It's like
Really?
it's really rare. Like, it's actually kind of sad where it's like there's like these reboot Demon Slayers where it like takes them like I've seen some people take several years before they get their first Ruin Force Shield. But then like if you play the regular server, you can just like go on auction house and buy one for like 100 mil.
Do you know any
reboot
Demon Slayer mains that don't have a Ruin Force Shield?
I think there is. I actually don't remember if they got one or not, but like there are some people who are like 290 plus who don't have one yet.
Chat's all spamming at some guy, Pallymanj or something, Pallyman J. Every time someone brings up Ruin Force Shield, everyone talks about this one Demon Slayer player that I guess has been playing for a really long time and still doesn't have one.
Yeah, I mean it's just happened. Like, hopefully with like the Inkwell now, with them mentioning that like high level drops will have like some kind of pity. I really hope they include a Ruin Force Shield in it, because otherwise it's like it's kind of it's really painful if you're playing this class for years and don't get one.
Yeah, I had one drop on like my first hard. It drops from Damien, right?
Yeah. It also drops from normal mode as well, actually, is the funny thing.
Maybe it was my normal. It might have been my first. I don't remember. It was one of my first Damien clears, like, ever in the game. I had one drop, and I was just like, hey, what's that?
Yeah, unfortunately,
like,
it's like it's completely useless if you don't play a demon. Unfortunately,
yeah.
So that's why it's actually so cheap in Reg server, because like everyone is killing Damien, and then like if they get an RFS, I mean, on like 95% of class, it's literally worthless, so they just sell it. But then in reboot, we don't have that luxury.
Yeah.
So yeah, in terms of overall survivability, like it's kind of like. Like in a boss where you're primarily scared of one-shots rather than chip damage, which is most of the low-tier bosses in the game, it's like easily S-tier survivability.
Yep.
But in bosses where the concern is chip damage rather than one-shots, like Xlot or Kalos, I think that the survivability actually gets like very heavily downgraded down to like say like B tier. It's actually quite binary depending on the type of boss you're fighting.
Sure. Okay. All right, well, let's average it out. Let's give it an A in between the two.
Okay, we're just giving everything A at this point.
Yeah, we'll just go A's across the board. Why not? I mean, honestly, like it's good. It's really nice insight to see like why you think a lot of this stuff is like really strong versus where it kind of isn't as good, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's like there's definitely a lot of bosses, like especially like the low tier bosses, where like literally the only thing concerning to you is the one shots.
Yeah.
And then because of a class of Demon Slayer with like frequent iframes and damage reduction and healing, like that shit is crazy.
Yeah.
But then the moment Ruin Force Shield is a hindrance, then like that 25% extra damage, you really feel it.
Yeah. It's fine. Just get unlucky and don't have a Ruin Force Shield. Then you'll have S tier survivability all the time.
Yeah, unfortunately your damage goes down by 10%, which is not so great then.
Okay, so let's go back to your like kind of rotation, your damage, stuff like that. I think you did a really good job of explaining exactly what's going on while you burst and like while you're DPMing. So if you're comfortable, I would love to see it like your damage rotation in like a realistic setting. If you feel comfortable showing off like any kind of boss fight for even if it's only like 3 minutes or so we could see like the origin burst into, you know, what the damage looks like for the 2 minutes after.
Sure. Is there any boss in particular you want to see?
Chat, is there anything in particular you want to see him do? A lot of people have been showing off like mostly Ex Lotus. I think a couple people showed off like Saren or something as well. Whatever. I'm good with whatever.
I can do Ex Lotus.
Yeah.
That one's both appealing to both end gamers and early gamers.
Yeah.
Early gamers are running the lower tier version. Okay, so I have my fans out. So basically, like,
wait, before you go in, can we quickly? Someone was asking to see your gear. Can you just like hover your gear real quick?
Okay, sure. So I got some very legacy totems.
Okay.
It's actually funny because like there's tiers of legacy on these like dark totems where like the first or second time they ran it, you could get above average totems. So I have this this funny totem where he gives an extra 3 strength and 1 attack. but then I have the Misty Island totem. So then here I have full pitched except for TC and Jenny badge. All my gear is just like double primed and everything.
Do you not have a Jenny badge, or is your legacy badge better?
I legacy badge is better.
Okay.
I don't have a Jenny badge either, but I've actually had multiple chances to loot one, but I give it to someone else instead because the puddle badge is better.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then I have a 23-star Dreamy
Holy.
belt.
Okay.
And then I have my double prime weapon. There's a 22 source, 23-star Sweetwater pendant. So then I have a double prime Eternal hat. I do have a 22-star my cooldown hat as well. Cooldown hat is quite viable on the current patch for Demon Slayer actually. So then I have a 22 Zerk, 22 eye patch. I have 22 on all the, or I have 22 on all the Colossus Eternals. I do have a 23-star Eternal shoulder. So then I have my 22 CFE, double prime emblem, the potable badge we talked about. I use the Chaos Vellum medal. It is a bit better than the Monster Park medal for me.
Okay.
And then I have a double prime but with boss on the secondary. Boss is actually quite solid. As long as you're not using continuous ring, having one boss line on your WC is perfectly fine for Demon Slayer.
Okay.
So then I have 21-star Eternal Cape and Eternal Shoe from Limbo. And then, but I do have a 22-star Eternal Glove, which is also triple crit damage.
Dude, somebody said that they thought you had this, and I was kind of waiting. You were leaving it for last. I was waiting for you to show this. Oh my god, what the fuck is that, bro?
So in the recent cube sale a few months ago, I bought like 2 trillion of cubes to do it. It was a very long process. It took me like 3 weeks of cubing to hit it, but it was finally attained.
So wait, do you know how much it cost you overall? 2T?
No, I don't. I think it was like 1.3 T or something. I don't remember off the top of my head. I might be misremembering. I'm actually not sure if I remember the number.
I don't know what the average is supposed to be, but that honestly doesn't sound that bad for.
I think the average is 1.7 T if memory serves correctly.
Okay. That's so crazy.
Yeah, this was I was extremely happy to hit this.
Yeah,
mainly because
I bet.
Dude, because it just took so long of cubing to do it. Like cubing,
yeah,
like, dude. If we get this VIP system that like lets you like do multi-cube, like that would be insane quality of life. Because like right now, like cube sales are just fucking miserable because it takes so long to cube.
It's like actually just 5 seconds per roll, and there's just nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so right. I can run that Exalt now. So
yeah, let's see it.
Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, continuous versus ring swap is very competitive. Because I have a roar 5 but not a continuous 5, I think in most cases like the ring swap outperforms. though.
Yeah.
So I will just be using
Sure.
roar for this. So as I was saying, let's see. Generally speaking, you pop weapon aura outside of the boss first. So then what happens is that for the burst setup, what you generally want to do is that you want to debuff the boss first, then you use Chomp, Presto Sequence, Origin, and then, as I mentioned, you do Snake, Oz, and then Bane, but you potentially delay that part of the sequence if you don't have a level 5 ring. And then we're gonna get the hammer drop in a few moments, then you can see the HP chunk insanely hard from it. Down from 69 to 55. Yeah, it is a very, very fat hit. Yeah, so even though the Origin is ended now, I still have 30 seconds left on my Awakening, so I can continue dealing very high damage for a pretty long period of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can see here that like you can utilize the dash to dodge a lot of things, and then obviously, of course, like you can up jump various patterns if it's convenient.
Yeah.
I guess another thing that is also worth calling out that I guess I didn't mention earlier is that so the lash during Awakening is like so it's like a normal attack speed scaling skill, but there is like this, they had this patch like say 1 or 2 years ago where what they did was they made the skill have a very low cancel, like end delay or cancel delay, whatever you want to call it. So the idea is you can actually exit out of lash very fast after you used it. So because of that, the skill is kind of, it almost functions like a hurricane where you can like start and stop it really easily while also scaling with attack speed at the same time. So that part is very, very convenient actually. It makes dodging pattern, or makes, that part is quite nice for uptime.
Yeah.
So here we're gonna burst again because it's up. And I can just ignore the slay because my Bane gives me a iframe. And yeah, it's oh shit, I actually forgot to refresh my weapon aura. I cannot wait for the change in the most recent KMS patch. They made it that weapon aura you can just auto buff it and it just works.
Yeah.
I cannot wait for that change. It is like the damage buff isn't that big from it, but the quality of life is crazy. Because like I mean you saw there, I literally forgot to refresh weapon aura.
Yeah.
So I get an effective damage gain from not forgetting anymore. So that's kind of nice. Yeah, so that's the showcase of what bossing looks like on Demon Slayer.
Okay.
So you see, I did use iframes at various points to like not dodge patterns. There is that nice part where you can like choose to not dodge a pattern by just like iframing instead. So in that way you can push up your uptime with the iframes. Yeah, so I guess that's probably good enough for a
Yeah, that's good. That's pretty sick. The burst is honestly, really solid. The axe drop is like just another tier, but the burst is pretty crazy. And then even after your like burst, right, whatever you want to call it, 20-30 seconds of burst, you're still like you're chunking pretty hard for a while. And then when you swap to that other your other like bossing skill, what's a Demon Impact or something? Yeah, Demon Impact was like, I noticed that you swapped to it because the sound changed.
Yeah. No, and then there's a very big damage fall off the moment Awakening falls off.
Yeah.
But it's like it's no slouch though, because like as I mentioned, the Mastery 3 and 4 added like literally like 3 new skills that enhance the off burst damage.
Yeah. Yeah. It looks really for me, I don't like just holding down one button. So like it looks like there's enough going on that it's not just like you don't just get bored, dodging and pressing one button the whole time. There's like enough other stuff going on.
It's like during when your Awakening is off, there's like the stuff you do with like chomp and like you have your base mobility. But like I mean I think all things is, I'm going to be honest, like this class it plays very simply. Like, yeah. Like during Awakening, you are literally just holding down Awakening like the whole time.
Yeah.
And it's not quite a hurricane, but it has like the end lag is low enough that like if it almost functions like a hurricane for a lot of these cases.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool. I didn't expect to be this into it. Okay, so give me your personal bias ranking on the rotational playstyle, like how much fun you have playing the class, how engaged it keeps you in boss fights.
So I think it's kind of interesting where like, how do I put this? So like I mentioned, the class is extremely simple. I think that like there is not that much nuance to the kit, but what I kind of like about that is that way like because that the kit doesn't have much complexity to it, you can like focus most of your attention and stuff on like the actual playing the actual boss and whatnot. Like you're not like if say for example you're playing a combo class, you like gotta make sure you like land your combos at the right times and
Yep.
and like pressing things very quickly. But like on a classic Demon Slayer, you can just like focus on dodging and like while you're dodging, you're just like holding down your attacks. So I think it's like it's like the bosses that we're fighting themselves are already like reasonably complex in the end game.
Yep.
So I'm like I don't necessarily feel bored, but like I can definitely see that like some people if they don't like just like holding down one key, they can find it too boring. Like I mean I have no argument against that. That is how the class plays basically.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so like what about for you? How much do you enjoy it? What's your personal ranking?
I think I enjoy it still like a decent amount. Like I guess I'm fucking giving aid for everything. So why not another aid? Like I think that there's like there's some like small optimizations you can make. Like as an example, like I think there's some like small things related to like for example maybe it's probably good if I look at okay. So you'll see here that like Hexa Demon Lash, it actually has this thing where every few seconds it prepares this demonic spear, which does an extra proc of damage. So then you'll see here that like normally it doesn't do that much damage. It has a 6-second cooldown, but during awakening the cooldown drops to 3 seconds, and then it does a significantly higher amount of damage.
Okay.
So there's like some small min-maxing you can do about optimizing your demon lash, or sorry, your demonic spear procs. It's like there's some room for optimizations there. There's some more optimizations around like Cerberus Chomp and like demonic plume timings. Like there's this one thing where like you'll see here on demonic plume, what happens is that it gets 1 CD reset when you cast the origin. So like it's kind of ideal if you like try to line up things that like it procs and then you origin, so you instantly get like the full value of the refund. So there's some small tricks here and there that definitely help push your damage like a few percent higher if you're paying attention to a lot of these timings. So I think there's like still like some nuance and like skill differentiation that allows you to push more damage on this class. So
Yeah.
I'd still like at a base level, if you just want to play the class, it's like piss easy. But there is like a decent amount of nuance that helps you push a few percent more damage.
Yeah. Okay. Well, with that, then let's talk a little bit more about the difficulty of the class. What do you think even if you don't think it's particularly like hard comparatively to other things in the game, what do you think is some of the hardest stuff to pick up starting out on a Demon Slayer for like a newer player?
Well, I think realistically speaking, nothing is that hard. Like I mentioned, the class is actually
Okay.
quite simple. I think that there's really not that much stuff that's hard about this class. Like every like the burst is very straightforward. There is like some like small stuff that's like complicated about timing, but like realistically speaking, it's like not actually that hard. Actually one thing, like you know how I mentioned earlier that like cooldown has very viable in this class. So the reason that it's actually quite good is because if you're specifically using continuous ring. So like continuous ring, as you're aware, has this like 12-second cycle thing.
Yep.
And the thing is that Demon Chain and Chomp, they both have a 15-second cooldown. So if you have Mercedes Legion and a 2-second hat, it makes their cooldown basically 12 seconds as well. So as a result of that, Demon Chain and Chomp perfectly sync with continuous ring by default if you have a -2 hat.
Okay.
So like if you have a -2 hat, it actually makes it that like normally speaking, something that's like kind of hard with continuous ring is timing it, but then if you have a -2 hat, they just perfectly sync from the first place, and it's not even hard. So there is so -2 hat actually does help a lot with a lot of things in terms of making the class even simpler. But yeah, I think that like this class is like extremely easy for a new player to pick up. Like it just plays very simply, and like like we mentioned, like the survivability in like a lot of the early bosses is kind of insanely high.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So what would you rank the difficulty of the class overall in terms of being able to play it on like an average level, not even min-maxing?
Wait, is this difficulty like is S mean it's difficult, or does S mean
Yeah,
it's easy,
exactly. S being like very difficult.
Oh, then like what I would put like whatever the lowest possible rate is. It what F or whatever like this. I think this class is extremely easy.
Okay. All right. Let's give it a D.
Okay.
I
sure.
think I want to try to reserve F for like the absolute easiest of the easiest classes. Like
so Master.
I mean, without naming any classes in particular, you know, just like the easiest of the easy classes. We'll see when the Bowmaster comes on what they have to say about it. But
Okay.
it's literally Bowmaster. I think we're still at 100% rate, guys, of Bowmaster being mentioned in every single difficulty section of every single interview. Yeah, every single time. It's classic, without fail. Okay, so let's talk about your party support then. Anything that you have in your kit that benefits party members, whether that's like synergies, buffs, any kind of utility, any kind of. I think you said you have some healing for party members, anything like that.
Yeah, so there's the class is very limited support, but there is a little bit. So there is, as I mentioned earlier, the Leech Aura, where every 5 seconds you heal your party members by 25%. This doesn't make or break anything, but like sometimes it's kind of nice in various situations.
Yeah, for sure.
And then the other support is coupled in Demon Cry, and actually Demon Chain, the 6-job skill, applies basically the same debuff, but basically this debuff. It lowers the enemy IED by 15, which all things considered is pretty low. It doesn't make that big of a diff. There is some small narrow things that it does that's kind of special. So one thing you'll see here is it does accuracy minus 20%. So this is funny. This is almost always completely useless. But in bosses with touch damage, it makes it that there's a small chance that the attack misses. So as an example, like if you're in Saren and you Demon Cry her and then she dashes, there's like a pretty small chance that when she dashes, it just misses you because she has an accuracy debuff. This shit is like fucking meme. It's like you should never rely on it. It is like very useless, but it is there, and it does have some applications.
Okay.
But then there's this one interesting part where it has a drop rate buff of 20%. This is the biggest drop rate buff in the whole game. So I mean. If I'm just saying, if you kill the boss and nothing drops, what was the point in killing the boss? So drop rate is kind of kind of good of a support. I'm gonna be honest.
Sure. Yeah, we'll take that.
Okay, but yeah, if I'm being completely honest, yeah. Actually, sorry, there is one more thing I forgot to mention. That this one is also like kind of not that useful, but sometimes useful. Is that there's this like weird thing where like when you Demon Cry a boss, for some reason it like drags aggro onto you. Like I don't know why it does this. It is like completely undocumented in the tooltip. But like there is some like narrow applications of this where like
so it's like just through experience you've noticed it happen like a lot.
It's actually most obvious where like, so you know how in like some bosses like Damien and Lucid they have like the aggro chart on the top left. When you Demon Cry, you instantly shoot to the top unconditionally, no matter what. So that's how I found out about it in the first place.
Interesting.
But it is narrowly useful in certain bosses where you need to like hold the position. So like examples would be like P3 Black Mage, like when someone's holding Saren and Dawn, or like in Calling P3 where you need to hold his positioning. So because in these very narrow situations, the aggro draw is actually quite useful. But it is like extremely narrow, useless in almost every situation.
Weird. Okay.
It is like insanely narrow, but it is technically some amount of party support.
Yeah. Okay. And that pretty much covers it?
Yeah, so that's it. So I think, I mean, I think that like like the party play is just not there. Like you have this like tiny debuff from Demon Cry. You have like the drop rate. Like I would say like probably just because of the drop rate alone, you probably put it at like C tier or something. But like this is nothing to write home about.
Sure, yeah. 15% IED, dude. I love that it's a 20%. Like some classes just have full untouchable, and this has a 20% accuracy. So it's like a gamble debuff. Yeah, it's like, hey, do you want to just gamble and like try to tank that dash and see what happens?
It's actually funny because in my ex Saren party we have Demon Cry from Demon Slayer, Flashbang from Dual Blade, and unfortunately I can't remember what skill Paladin has, but Paladin also has an accuracy debuff. So when we stack all three of them, like the dashes actually start like almost always missing us, which is kind of funny. But yeah, this shit is like this is not something you should actually rely on.
I'm just gonna blame whenever I'm in a party with a Demon Slayer. I'm just always gonna blame them when I die to dashes.
Hopefully they don't take it too harsh.
Your fault, bro, not my fault. All right, let's talk about your Hexa masteries. So how they affect the way that your character plays, or how they affect your damage, or whatever. Just all of your Hexa stuff, but particularly we'll start with masteries.
So yeah, so the masteries, they don't change the core of how much you play too much. Like your actual play style roughly remains the same. I think there's like some small min-maxing around cooldowns that you can do with them, but like in the grand scheme of things, you're playing like 99% the same with or without the masteries.
Okay.
But that being said, so the origin does switch up the burst order a little bit by nature of it being this like buff origin in 2 parts, but that's not that big of a deal. But something that is perhaps more interesting is that the sort of like Hexa efficiency, where like there's this notion of like, if you invest a low amount of frags in a character, how much do you get out of it?
Yep.
And I think that like people have compiled these like various charts, and like Demon Slayer is like always in like the top 5. And the reason is because how efficient the masteries are. Where like, as an example, like I think that the mastery 2, which is the Demon Lash plus Infernal Concussion, I think this one gave, I want to say like 8 final damage at level 1, maybe a little lower. Mastery 3, which is Demon Cry and Dark Metamorphosis, this was like 5 or 6 final damage at level 1. And then Cerberus Chomp plus Demonic Plume was around 9 final damage at level 1. So you just get like an absolutely insane amount of damage from having level 1 masteries on this class. Like this class, the masteries, they hit really hard at level 1, and then the scaling is kind of mediocre after that. But like, because of that, like Demon Slayer mules are insanely strong because level 1 masteries just give you so much damage on this class. It's actually insane. There's also like I mentioned earlier, like Demon Awakening is your kind of main burst skill. So getting level 1 on this enhance also provides high value as well, because it's just such a high percent in the first place.
Yeah. Damn. Okay. But other than damage, they don't really change your skills too much.
You play like 95%, 99%, something like that, like the same.
Yeah.
But you just like experience like absolutely massive damage gains just from getting very low Hexa investment.
Damn. All right, so give me a ranking. How important do you think it would be for someone to just like take a Demon Slayer to 260 and get their stuff unlocked?
Wait, like important in terms of play style or damage, or what do you mean?
Like all of it together, play style, damage, like all of it kind of profiled together as one.
Oh, they're probably like here. I think just from the damage alone, let's put it at S. Like this class's level 1 masters are absolutely absurd. They give so much damage.
Okay, I think that's fair. And you said something about having the Hexa farm it, like one of the skills, the Hexa version of it for farming also makes the farming better.
Oh,
right.
Actually, I guess we didn't mention this. Like, I mean, I guess this is true for every class, but like Soul Janus really is what enables TP farming to be like absolutely insane.
Sure, yeah.
Rates. So Soul Janus is kind of actually like, it's like potentially even bigger of a deal for Demon Slayer than it is for other classes for farming. And
Yeah.
of course, Infernal Concussion does boost your rates, the Hexa version.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's what I was wondering about. Okay, well, I mean that's a quick, easy transition. Let's talk about the farming. So obviously you talked about it at the beginning, like TP farming, but yeah, let's just talk about it. Let's get back into it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So I think that I mean, TP farming is pretty damn good. I'm just gonna be honest. It's very low effort and gets you like essentially max rates. Like I think this is like a very easy S tier. I think that something that's also worth calling out is that the damage requirements for farming are also extremely low.
Okay.
This is because Blue Blood affects Soul Janus, so you get a 90 FD bonus on Soul Janus because of Blue Blood. So so this makes it that Soul Janus one shots extremely easily on this class. Also similarly, Blue Blood also applies to Urda Fountain as well. They can one shot very easily, and then a demon, and then like Infernal Concussion also just hits extremely hard. So like this class has like extremely low damage requirements to farm, and also of course TP farming is just piss easy, very low effort.
Yeah.
And so yeah, overall like I think this is just like no brainer S tier for farming.
I think I heard something about needing a certain amount of buff duration for TP farming. Is that true?
Yeah. So if you want to utilize Hexa Infernal Concussion, generally speaking, you need a modest amount of buff duration to be able to sustain Boundless Rage. I think in practice, it's generally speaking not a huge amount. Like for farming, I just run like an inner ability line. I run let's see which was on my farming page. I run 40 in Legion, and that's kind of just enough. Like,
okay.
You like some people mentioned that like you really need event buffs for buff duration to TP farm. I don't think that's true. I have no issues TP farming without event buff duration. It just works. But that being said, you can always revert to the 4th job Infernal Concussion and TP farm without it. It does come at slightly lower rates, but it is lazier.
Yeah. Okay. Before I get your final ranking for this, I told most other classes that if I was going to give a 2nd or 3rd S to anyone for this category, it would be Demon Slayer. Can I offer you more than one S?
Sure. I guess this is like literally the most brain dead farming class in the game.
Do you think that you like objectively have the best farming in the game just because of the way TP farming works?
I'd say so. Like I think that it's actually kind of interesting where like Soul Janus is actually only like is it say 1 year old? Like I think pre Soul Janus TP farming rates, I mean they weren't bad, but it was like quite a bit lower than what other classes could get. But now it's like Soul Janus is like TP farming is both easy and at the same level of rates as everyone else.
Yeah.
So yeah, this farming is like completely absurd ever since they released Soul Janus.
Yeah. I think for me the thing that really makes it stand out is the fact that it just loots automatically because you're just constantly teleporting around. Now, obviously, that's like reliant on having a vac pet, right?
No, that's actually a good point that I forgot to bring up that I'm happy you mentioned. So it's actually interesting where like other classes they kind of need a vac pet, but it's actually very map dependent. Like there are a lot of maps where you can loot everything even without a vac pet. It's like
interesting.
Unfortunately, I am not too up to date on the latest regions because I actually have not experimented with them. But like for example, like wrong one. Locked Door 2 and Odium, I fucking farmed this map for God knows how many hours. And like this map, for example, you do not need a vac pet. The platform structure is just conducive enough that no vac pet you still full loot. I do want to bring up that like there are some maps that are quite bad. Like I remember I don't remember which of there was one map I tested in Talahart. I don't remember if it was this one, but like there are some maps where like like for example you like almost never teleport to this platform because you're like Janus and shit is like constantly killing the mobs, so your Chaos Lock never reaches them. So because of that, you just like completely end up missing the loot on like the middle platform, let's say. Okay. So there is some maps where vac pet is like kind of required for Demon Slayer, but there is no shortage of maps where vac pet has essentially no impact on your rates at all.
Can you pretty much just farm on any map?
Yes, you can TP farm on any map and get basically full clear now that we have Soul Janus. It's just like you don't give a shit about rotation, you don't give a shit about map. It just works anywhere.
You just go to the map that has the highest burning.
Yeah, like I just go to the map that's within level range with high burning.
Yeah.
And that's like always what I've done basically.
Wow. Okay. That's insane. Yeah, that's insane. All right, let's move on. Everyone's heard enough about farming on Demon Slayer. We already knew what it was like. Let's real quick just get into your animations. So if first you could unequip your boost nodes so we can see what your skills look like before masteries, and then throw them back on, and let's look at what they look like after masteries, and then any other skills that maybe have a notable animation that you want to show off.
Sure. Let me go back to Dojo just so that I don't know, doing it in town where other people are restricting the view.
We really got to see this.
Okay. Oh, let me make it a big W actually. Okay, so I guess like the things that stand out, so like well actually I'll also change my Janus back. Okay, so like one thing that stands out, so like dark meta is like you see that you see this, it's like the fucking balls floating around me and they tag the boss to do some various damage. So that's
Don't they make your
skill.
wings bigger too, technically, but you don't have the wings showing? Is that dark metamorphosis that does that, or is that a different skill?
Dude, I'm gonna be honest. I've had the wings disabled for like 10 years. I actually don't know.
Okay. I'm pretty sure one of your skills. Oh, it's awakening. Apparently, one of your skills makes your wings way bigger.
Yes. Awakening does do that.
Okay.
Actually, I can let me take off my annex cape to show that. At least I think that's how it's controlled. Oh wait, did I disable?
That was weapon that
you.
you took off, I think.
Oh, did I? Oh, fuck! You're right. I did.
Yeah,
Okay. Here it is. Okay.
Yeah, there we go. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So that's what the Demon Awakening wings look like.
Yep.
Dude, I don't remember. Okay, whatever. I'll find whatever I need. Here. Well, actually, no, it was the transparent sheet.
Yeah, it was transparent.
Okay. Yeah. So see, Awakening produces those wings. So then, let's see. So I can showcase what. Okay, so there's Dark Meta that I already showed. So then there's Demon Impact. Kind of looks a little underwhelming by default. There's Cerberus Chomp, which looks a bit better. Demon Cry, and then I think that's it for the skills. Actually, maybe I can show you what it looks like to make him unable to eat lunch for a week. Very, very supremely uninteresting skill. Okay, so then if we put my boost nodes back on, let me make sure I put them in the right slots so I don't. Okay, so then what they look like, so then now there's Demon Chain. So this is a fancy as fuck animation now. And then the base Demon Impact also looks quite a bit different. Something that's also changed is, so you see, like, you were previously with Dark Meta, there was like the balls floating around me.
Yep.
Now you just see this like giant purple haze.
Oh, okay.
And you also see that like on the boss, like you see these effects that show up now. It's like Dark Meta, what it does is it converts it that instead of it's an aura that damages bosses, it produces an on hit effect when you hit bosses, and then that's what these like flames are.
Okay.
So that's what Dark Meta changes to. And then Cerberus Chomp is like significantly fancier now. Demon Cry is mostly the same, but a little fancier. And then Concussion is like no longer two-part, and it's just like this like fucking demon mouths or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, so I think that like I think all things considered, like the base Demon Slayer skills are pretty ugly. It comes from the fact that the class, like I mentioned, is extremely dated. It's like the oldest class that hasn't been reworked yet. But the Mastery Core has definitely upgraded the animations a lot, and now they look a lot nicer overall.
Yeah.
Oh, someone mentioned that I should have shown what it looks like when you recast Dark Meta. It's coming up in a few seconds. So it looks like it's a much fancier animation as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, so I think the animations for this class are pretty cool. I think that also even like the fit job skills, like Demon Bane is kind of sick. This giant ass snake is pretty cool as well, and I think it's like I think the animations are they're they're cool to the point where if you boss with animations on, you cannot fucking see your screen. they're like this snake is like just dude, it's actually so big
Yeah.
and shit.
Can I see
So
the origin by itself?
Oh sure. So like this is the cutscene. So then here you'll see like there's the flames.
Yeah.
It's
Changes the background.
Yeah, it also gives you this cutscene.
Dude, we're in Castlevania.
Yeah, and then when you drop the hammer, it looks like that.
Oh,
it's actually funny.
Shit, okay.
The first time I saw like the origin background, like when it was in like the the KMS test server data extraction, dude, I thought someone was trolling me. I was like, dude, how can this be the Demon Slayer origin? It literally looks like something pulled from Castlevania. Like, no meme. I was straight up said that to someone who like sent me that.
Yeah, it's kind of sick. That's a really cool. That's one of the cooler backgrounds I've seen.
Yeah, I think the Demon Slayer origin is really cool.
Yeah. Why hammer, not axe?
It's so okay. So unfortunately, I don't. Let's see. Wait, do I have a? Oh, I need to. Wait, do I even have my pet with pet ignore? Fuck, I don't. Okay. Okay. So basically, the reason why is because that the thing that actually drops when you cast the origin. Okay, so I will agree with you. It looks like an axe. I won't be honest there. But it's actually an in-game item called I think it's called Demon Bane actually. I might be misremembering the name though.
Okay.
Is literally an item in-game that drops down, and that item is actually a hammer.
Oh.
So despite it looking like an axe, very technically speaking, it is actually a hammer.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. Everyone calls it the axe drop, but actually,
I mean,
guys...
I don't actually care because
yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. It literally looks like an axe, but
yeah,
very technically speaking, it is a hammer.
I mean, it's kind of hard to make something look like a mace or a hammer in 2 dimensions, you know?
Yeah, it's a little rough because it's like it's missing the depth kind of component a hammer normally has.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so give me your biased ranking on the animations.
I think they're like extremely cool. Like I think that like pre mastery cores, this is kind of ass, but after the mastery cores, like this shit looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. We'll just give it A tier, like half the gotta stick with it.
Put chat, you know what to say. Put the A's in the bag. All right. Well, with that, that's pretty much everything that I normally like to cover specifically for rankings. I'll let chat ask any specific questions that they maybe have for you while we still have you here. I'll cover a couple that they've been asking almost every single time. First of all, I will ask, is any part of your class ping reliant?
So there is some minor things around Demon Fury that are ping reliant. So I have heard people say that okay, so like here's one example. So like in my buff sequence, you'll see that I cast Boundless Rage first, the skill that gives me infinite Demon Fury.
Mm-hmm.
But what I have heard is, so like when I press it, it just seamlessly pops everything. Like it just works.
Yep.
But what happens for some people that have high ping is sometimes the Demon Fury buff doesn't register fast enough, and then they run out of Demon Fury in the successive skills. So there are some issues with Demon Fury around high ping that can sometimes be kind of annoying. This also affects TP farming a little bit as well, where sometimes your Demon Fury doesn't regenerate quite as seamlessly as it should while you're TP farming. So there is some minor things around ping, but these are pretty minor because like as an example with the like permanent uptime Boundless Rage trick, Demon Fury is a complete non-issue for farming. And then also like for the buff sequence part, you can just like what I have here, I have a separate sequence for Boundless Rage, so I can just cast this one first, make sure it goes through, and then I cast my main buff sequence. So you can avoid that issue for there. So it's like there is some minor issues, but overall not too bad. Oh, actually, one thing that I am not 100% sure about because I have not really. I mean, I play at very low ping, so I cannot really experiment. but I have heard anecdotally that the origin, so this demon territory thing has a 0.3 second cooldown on the proc, but I have heard that that high ping players cannot get as many procs as low ping players on this.
Okay.
I am actually not that confident on like how exactly this works and everything, but I have heard some people talk about that being an issue.
Okay. So it would just be less damage coming out of your origin for that.
Yeah, it's like not that, because I think that the damage split is like 75% of the damage comes from the end drop. So like doing a little bit less damage on the territory is like, I mean, it's obviously losing damage sucks, but it's like not that big in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah. Okay. W, how are you going to be affected by 2-minute changes?
So the 2-minute changes are very interesting for Demon Slayer, where so basically the core changes is that we lose a small amount of attack and crit damage, but then they change our skills up a lot, where like I mentioned earlier, we have all these like low cooldown skills that do various amounts of damage of like Demon Chain, Demonic Plume, Cerberus Chomp, so they buff all these skills. But then the actual core big change is that they rework Demon Awakening. So right now, Demon Awakening gives you 65 seconds of unconditional empowered Demon Lash. So what happens after the 2-minute patch is they rework this skill so that instead it gives you only 100 empowered lashes, but each individual lash is, say, around, like, I think it's around 25% stronger than it currently is.
Okay.
So that is the landscape. So I think overall,
so like a more condensed burst.
Yes, more condensed. That's correct. So I think it's like the net impact on a dummy is like maybe say like -5% final damage or something. It's like kind of hurts, but not that big of a deal. But as you point out, it's more condensed burst. So I think that like it's not a pure loss, because like for obviously in all bosses, like you can't get off all your damage. Like the boss is gonna like fuck off after bind or whatever. Like you will lose some damage invariably. So I think that the changes overall, like, okay, obviously like there is still some level of damage loss, but I think the changes are not nearly as bad as they appear. Like I've done some BA testing, and like, so just for reference, so right now when you're hitting a dummy, you get say around like 210 lashes per awakening. So downgrading from 210 to 100 obviously sounds very bad, but I think in practice, in real bosses, I only tend to get around like 160 or something like that is what I've measured.
Okay.
So the thing is, like, then you think about it, okay, it's like, let's say you're doing 160 lashes right now, but then post-change you're doing 100 lashes, each of which is like 25% stronger than the previously. So now the gap is a lot closer. And there's also this like, there's also the consequence where like, because it's more condensed, more of your lashes fit inside your roar, your AB, a goddess, whatever. So like, I think the reality is that like in a real boss, like people have been testing and like in bosses like Extreme Lotus and such, they're like straight up clearing faster post changes than pre changes.
Yeah.
Even though they had a loss in dummy damage. So it's kind of very interesting where like, because the profile of class damage has changed so much, it's actually not as bad as the nerf as the dummy damage suggests.
Yeah. Is that going to make it so that you will, especially with like Roar becoming a 2-minute cooldown, is that going to make it so you're going to, like, a lot of Demon Slayers are going to want to use Roar more?
Yeah, basically after they changed, continuous ring is basically dead for the class.
Okay.
It's like basic unconditional use Roar. But one thing I actually wanted to mention that's kind of interesting though is that like, so like, you know, so Demon Awakening is capped at 100 lashes. So like you can do this kind of silly thing where you burst with Roar and whatever, like let's say your Roar ends, then what you do is you just like wait a few seconds, and it's because like your number of lashes is capped, so you're like not actually losing that much damage by waiting, and then you swap the weapon jump, pop your weapon jump, and then continue lashing.
Okay.
So it's like you can, so like there's actually like a very natural way to like pop 2 Oz rings for your burst. And in the recent KMS change, they added the ring swap skill, which makes it that you don't even have to stand still for those few seconds to ring swap. So that change is actually a pretty big buff for Demon Slayer, because like it was already kind of worth it to pop 2 rings for your 2 Oz rings for your burst.
Yeah.
But now you can pop 2 of them and you don't even have to stand still for a few seconds. So that's actually like a very big buff for Demon Slayer, the 2 ring thing.
Yeah.
There's also another thing I want to call it is like something that's like very common is where you're like dude, like let's say you're in like, I don't know, like Lotus P2 and the boss has like 5% HP left and your burst is up and you're like, fuck my life. Like this is going to take forever to chip out. But if I burst, then I like waste my burst, you know, right? But the nice thing what you can do is that you can like pop your burst, and then like, but you like don't lash at all. So you can save all your lashes for the next phase.
Sure. Okay.
So that's actually really nice, where you can like you can burst out of a phase, but you're not actually wasting your burst because you just pop it in the next. You like extend the lash stacks in the next phase. So it's actually really nice where like in a lot of these like min cut bosses, like what ends up happening is that you just like it's like I said, like the phase is at 5%. It feels real shit if you pop your burst, but you kind of have to because it would take too long to chip out. But then like you come up severely ahead in this situation where you can store your lash stacks for the next phase.
Yeah.
So it's actually quite nice. I think that like the reality is that like these changes, obviously lost in dummy, but like I think for most real bossing scenarios, you will come up ahead and be dealing more damage, just because like the way the damage distribution has shifted is actually like significantly beneficial.
Yeah. All right, let's see. Next question here. Is Demon Slayer viable without Rune Force Shield?
Well, like I mentioned earlier, if you don't have Rune Force Shield, the class's survivability is off the charts.
Yeah.
Like, it's absolutely absurd. But obviously, giving up 10 final damage is quite significant. So,
yeah.
10 final damage is like, I don't know. Normally, it would take an absolutely enormous amount of investment to increase your character's final damage by 10%. So, Rune Force Shield is quite important for that reason alone.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. It's just RNG. Hopefully, like we said, or like you said before, they'll address the drop rate, or they'll, make it feel better by making it a little bit more available.
Yeah, if they add some kind of pity on Rune Force Shield, I think that would be a very big deal. Right now, it's actually really bad for new players that like it can just like take them fucking years to get Rune Force Shield. It's really unfortunate.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Also, actually, so I mentioned that like the Rune Force Shield feels kind of bad because of the 25% damage increase.
Mm-hmm.
In the 2-minute patch, they actually reduced it down to 15% damage amp instead.
Oh.
So because of that, this class survivability actually gets a pretty significant upgrade. And the reason why is like 25 to 15 already sounds kind of nice, but it's like I mentioned, it's like a lot of damage thresholds where like right now, for whatever reason, these bosses have all these attacks that do exactly 40% and 80% damage. And that's like literally like the fucking terrible point.
Yeah.
Where it makes Rune Force Shield like you get that like instead of a 3-shot, it's a 2-shot. Yep. Instead of a 2-shot, it's a 1-shot. Yep. And like because of these 40% and 80% attacks, like Rune Force Shield actively feels really bad in these bosses. So decreasing it down to 15%, it is actually a really big deal.
Yeah. That's actually pretty sick. That's a good change.
Yeah, I think that I would like significantly upgrade the class's survivability after that change.
Yeah. Okay. Damn. W. Okay, guys. Any last questions? Any last questions from off before we let him go? Dude, you honestly came on here, and I personally am like super blown away by how much you knew, and like just seamlessly were able to talk through every single thing that I wanted to know about. Like your knowledge, like obviously you've been playing the game for a long time, and like you're very accomplished in terms of performance on the class, but not everyone who's like really good at the game has the same like skill in being able to explain what it is that they're doing, and you honestly just crushed it. Like you did really, yeah. I can't say enough nice things about how pleased I am. So thank you, bro.
No problem.
Like, absolutely crazy.
So the class is very. Like I said though, I think the class is like all things considered pretty simple. So like, it's not that hard to know all the ins and outs of the class. But yeah, I do try to keep try to keep track of everything. Like I mentioned, like there's that thing where like you can like potentially you pop your sequence after origin. Like this is like actually. It's like very situational, and some bosses it's actually a pretty meaningful damage increase, and like there's a lot of like small things like that were like I think most people aren't thinking of, but I try to like keep track of these things and figure out like if they're actually worth doing or not.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, someone asked, would you recommend this class as a Legion champ?
Yeah, I think I would definitely do so, because I think at the moment the class is extremely strong. It does fall a decent amount after the 2-minute patch, but I think that the reality is that the class still performs quite well. Well, especially at low investments, like I mentioned, where like for example, people make these DPM charts, but these DPM charts always assume max Hexa. But like the reality is like your Legion champs probably have like shit Hexa.
Yeah.
So like if you, then like Demon Slayer is like absurdly strong at level 1 masteries and whatnot.
Yeah.
There's also the factor that like farming on Demon Slayer is extremely easy, which is like obviously a big plus for people's Legion champs and whatnot.
Yeah.
The one con though is like if you don't have a Rune Force Shield, you will feel the lack of damage though. That part is like I think that is the one con for Demon Slayer's Legion champ. Everything else is like very, very positive though.
All right, so here's the play. Make a Demon Slayer, make him strong enough to kill Damien. Kill Damien on repeat until you get a RFS, and then full commit and send it.
I know there's some people where like I don't know how serious they are, but they say they'll like make like 5 Demon Slayers and they'll main the one that gets a Rune Force Shield first.
God, that's crazy. That's actually psychopath behavior. I respect it though.
I don't know if anyone has actually done that, but like a lot of people talk about it, so I'm like sure someone has done that.
Yeah, literally, someone in chat said that's what I did. That's crazy.
Oh my god, that's crazy.
That's crazy. I mean, good for you. You got the RFS eventually. Okay, someone asked one last thing. I'm gonna ask from chat before we let you go. Can you show your mob count?
Oh, about that. I actually, what is I don't remember what is. I thought it was bag some gains. I guess I don't remember which one is it in. Oh, Battlefield. That's what it is.
Oh, apparently it stops tracking after 100 mil. So
yeah, well, I don't. The thing is, I don't even remember the achievement name because I'll bag some big game. Yeah, I finished this like 3 years ago.
Yeah, show mob count. Yeah, go get a time machine, buddy. Go back in time and he'll show you his mob count. But we can't track that shit anymore.
The thing is like that actually on the road to 100 mil mobs, the majority of this was actually kata farming because like if you go really back in the day when like there was like 275 level cap and everything, there was actually like very little incentive to farm on your main. So like I think that when they released the level cap to 300, I think I was at I want to say like 70 to 80 mil mobs, almost all of which was Kana farming actually.
Yeah, okay.
So I actually farmed a lot on Kana, but then the obviously ever since Six Shop came out, I've like primarily farmed on my main. That is how I am 295.
Yeah. Damn. All right, brother. Any last words for future Demon Slayer players?
I will say I think that the class is in a bit shaky of a situation in KMS. I think that like I mean as I'm sure most people know, we have this like crazy 3-part KMS balance patch and like fucking everything is going crazy right now. So and Demon Slayer was not in part 1, so we'll have to see what happens in part 2 and part 3. But like I think that there are some structural issues with like the last change that I want to see changed. So hopefully we can get some improvements on that grounds. But yeah, we'll see. I think that like basically any class that wasn't in the first part of the balance patch is like fucking sweating, wondering what's gonna happen when it's their turn.
Yeah.
So the next 2 months, like everyone is like, or I guess 2/3 of people are just like, God damn it! I really hope that Nexon doesn't just destroy my class here.
Yeah. Would you want a Demon Slayer rework, or would you be too scared that they would screw it up?
I think that like actually saw a interesting data point is like, so I played Shade a lot before the remaster, and I thought it was like pretty fun. But like I think that after the remaster, there were some changes that were like not so good. But like overall, I definitely feel like I had a lot more fun playing Shade after the remaster. So
Okay,
there's that like I think like Shade was overall like a pretty good remaster. I heard that Iran was terrible, so that's that. They drew the short end of the stick. I think in terms of Demon Slayer remaster, I don't think the class. I think that like there is definitely like I mentioned, there's a lot of very dated concepts in the class. I think that the way Demon Awakening was reworked was they didn't think super hard on a couple of the components that I would like to see changed. So I wouldn't necessarily be opposed to a remaster, but obviously there's the risk that like we get around and the class gets fucked.
Yeah.
So there is some real risk that makes me not want it.
We get around is a crazy term.
I think that among Iran mains, I have not met a single Iran main who is happy with the remaster.
Yeah. Yeah. I hear the same thing. I didn't even play before the remaster, so I don't even know what it used to be like, but It was not a fun class for me to level. I did not enjoy it that much. Yeah. Demon Slayer, however, that class was kind of fun to level. And after this, I like low key did not think I was going to want to make a Demon Slayer at all. But after this, I'm like kind of leaning very much in the direction of trying it out.
I think at least on the current patch, I think Demon Slayer is up there as like one of the strongest classes in the game. Like it is really, really strong right now. But from the 2-minute patch, it gets slightly nerfed and everyone else gets buffed. So then it becomes a lot more equalized. Yeah. But at least for now, this class is like absolutely absurd damage output.
Yeah. I like that the burst is getting more condensed too. That's something that I actually, I personally like.
Yeah, I think that's what dissuades a lot of people from the class, because the burst lasts 65 seconds, it's actually a little inconvenient. And that's actually precisely why people saw boss times improve after the change. Yeah. Because it became a lot more condensed.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, for sure. All right, brother. Well, I'm going to let you go. It's Rune Day, and you've got some TP farming to do, I'm sure. Normally I would say, like, good luck finding a map, but you can go farm on any map, so... I think you'll be
also
good.
Super free. Talahard in the 294 area is always really free anyway.
Oh, like, true, true.
You can. It's so free to the point where you can frequently find burning even on Rune days. It's just like there's almost nobody farming there.
Yeah. Well, there's about to be one more.
Yeah, I guess so.
All right, brother. Well, I honestly I cannot thank you enough. You absolutely crushed it. I know it was like super late. I didn't know how to get in touch with you, so I just kind of kept sending out the bat signal to everyone in the community to try to tell you to come find me. But yeah, I'm glad that you agreed to it. Thank you so much. Actually, the GOAT.
No problem. It was fun coming on here.
Yeah, no, it was really fun. This was very eye-opening. I think we crushed a lot of, at least for me, I know there's like, I don't know. There's a bit of like a reputation amongst Demon Slayer players in the community, and I think this like cleared that up completely for me. So, yeah.
It's you know, I mean, I will be honest. And whenever you see a ban wave, there's usually a decent number of Demon Slayers asking the Demon Slayer Discord why they got banned. And so,
why did I get banned?
I will be honest. There was a very large number of people who are TP farming and not paying attention to their screens. I think that, and in every ban wave, you see a lot of Demon Slayers get banned. It's just the way it is.
Yep. Well, guys, don't walk away from your computer while you're TP farming, okay? Honestly, don't even look away from your game while you're TP farming. That sounds incredibly dangerous.
Yeah, you do need to be paying attention, or else you might get banned one day.
Yeah. Yep. Not
well, actually, it's funny. It's actually funny that when it's like, dude, whenever you see a Demon Slayer that's not TP farming, it's like, is this guy botting? Like, why did you manually farm on this class?
Like, what are you doing, bro? You know you can. You know there's an easier way to do that.
Dude, there is this one guy who are like, they were like super proud of the fact that they manual farmed only and never TP farmed, and then a month later I saw them get permaban, and I'm like, yep.
Man, it's always the people who are the most proud of how much time they put in. Okay, sorry, that was a low blow. All right, well, I'm gonna, bro, I'm gonna let you go. Okay, well, yeah, one last time, thank you so much, guys. W's in the chat for Moff. You the go, bro. Thank you so much for coming on. Have fun wapping today, and good luck getting closer to 700 mil. I hope you're the first 700 mil CP player. We're getting close.
Well, thank you.
You just need a couple more 23 stars, I believe.
Well, I mean, I think that when Legion Champs arrives,
that'll do it too, CP. Yeah.
So that alone will make me break it.
Yep. That'll do it. All right, bro. We'll talk soon. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
No problem. All right. See you later.
Later. Guys, that class looks crazy. I mean, we all knew that the farming was going to be wild, but he sold it. He sold it. The Moff effect. That really jumped up. Low-key, I was really hoping that its survivability was not going to be good. When he was showing off like the damage and just like the animations and the mobility, talking about how like you know, how helpful it is to just be able to glide over the top of bosses and a lot of attacks and stuff like that. I was like, man, I really, really, really hope this class is squishy. I really, really, really hope it doesn't have good survivability, because that's kind of like the big thing that I'm looking for in the next class that I play. And then we talked about the survivability, and it was like absolutely insane. And now I want to play one. And then he talked about the Hexa and how you gain so much damage just from unlocking things from very, very, very little investment. Guys, I think I'm going to become a Demon Slayer player. I don't know if it's going to be like, again, I don't want to like jump the gun and tell you guys what I'm going to hyperburn before we make the decision. But, and again, this has been happening after every single interview. Like every single person's interview makes me want to play the class. And at the end of every single interview, I'm like, that's the one I'm going to make. So we won't know until I go back and actually like watch all of the interviews. But as of right now, that one checked a lot of boxes for me. I'm not going to lie. Anyway, Twitch chat, as always, I appreciate you. Thank you for supporting my guest. Thank you for being respectful. Thank you for participating in the community votes. What the hell is up with that difficulty vote? What is wrong with you guys? Who are the funny guys in chat, huh? So funny. You guys are hilarious. YouTube, I hope this answered all of your questions. If you make a Demon Slayer, let me know. We can run around and TP farm together. Same maps or different maps, but we can just all do it at the same time, and we can watch movies in Discord and play TFT and do a whole lot of other shit while we're also farming. We can get banned together. Yeah, true. All right, guys. I appreciate you all. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one. MAFHWHALE!